The bureaucrats are trembling tonight as Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy storm Capitol Hill with their Department of Government Efficiency revolution. DOGE isn't just another acronym, it is a declaration of war on bureaucratic bloat. Speaker Mike Johnson has promised a blowtorch to the administrative state, and with Musk's innovative approach, we're about to witness one of the biggest government overhauls in history. They're creating a naughty and nice list for Congress, exposing who's really fighting for the American people and who's padding their pockets with taxpayer dollars. Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's already signed on, and you won't believe who's running scared. And just like DOGE is targeting bloated bureaucracy, you need to target out-of-control heating costs this winter while let big energy companies drain your wallet when there's a smarter solution. This incredible portable heater I use slashes my heating bills while keeping my home perfectly comfortable. It's energy efficient, just like DOGE wants our government to be. Don't wait. Order yours today at staywarmnow.com and get up to 60% off during their Black Friday special. It's still ongoing. Plus, you'll get free shipping and satisfaction guarantee. 5-pack against wasteful spending, starting with your heating bill. Visit staywarmnow.com. Okay, so what would it look like if we went to DOGE? If the DOGE had their own show. This was just put out by I Want Liberties, and it's absolutely solid gold.
Coming this spring to MXNBC, a groundbreaking series that will change the U.S. government and the world forever. Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, under the direction of former star of The Apprentice, Donald Trump, will challenge 3 million contestants to carry their load or hit the road. That's right. We'll be asking every government employee to prove their value.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine.
Just like in a good old-fashioned meritocracy.
Welcome, everybody. Thanks for coming in.
What would you say it is that you do around here?
I mean, a lot of days I really do stuff. It's just there's not that much going on today.
I helped Tanner and Blaze replace those heavy 5-gallon water containers.
Tune in each week as Elon and Vivek measure every federal employee's value and efficiency.
And time. So your study on how cocaine enhances the sex drive of Japanese quail. What's that worth to the American taxpayer?
I think it's priceless.
And get ready for the savings as those that don't make the cut get shown the door.
The president wants to tell you something.
Firstly, thank you for coming in today. And second, you're fired.
The Emmy Award-watching viewers of Deadwood and Idiocracy present DOGE Days, the purge of the U.S. government.
There is a whole forest of dead wood out there. We got to get chopping, buddy.
Oh, man. The glorious American.com. Man, that was absolutely beautiful. I love that. So the DOGE, can we all agree every federal agency should be disarmed? If we're going to keep the FBI, we ought to let them be the federal police force. We shouldn't be arming EPA climate officers, IRS tax officers, and so on. EPA shock troops just made their first arrest. Did you hear about this? Yeah. Biden's EPA has hundreds of armed climate change officers ready to arrest Americans. Biden's EPA has brought hundreds of thousands of rounds of ammo, hundreds of firearms, and body armor for its climate police. The EPA made its first climate change arrest of Michael Hart of San Diego this year. It expects arrests of hundreds of thousands of Americans in the future. This is a post by Amuse. Yeah, the EPA, armed and ready to fight, but so is Marjorie Taylor Greene, getting ready to go all in with Elon and the DOGE. There's Elon's son. She posted these pictures on her X account just a day ago when Elon and Vivek stormed into Capitol Hill. Here is, this is following that meeting. Here is what Mike Johnson had to say. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, very productive meeting. Listen, I'm just saying, this is a very productive meeting with Republicans from the Senate and the House.
Mr. Speaker, can you come here, please?
No, I can't. I'm late for a portrait unveiling. I cannot miss that. But they're finishing up the last few comments. There'll be a lot more that's expressed in the days ahead. I doubt that Elon and Vivek are going to give many comments today because we're in the early process of this, but stay tuned for more to come.
Are you going to get Social Security, yes or no?
I do not have a portrait
Social Security?
Yes, you bet.
How was the meeting in there and your role taking on as a subcommittee?
I thought the meeting went fantastic. It was exactly what we were looking for, a question and answer session with Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. They were gracious with their time. Many of the members, pretty much almost all of them, lined up at 3 mics and went through the process of expressing their concerns, their frustrations, also talking about bills that they have sponsored and their ideas of how we can truly tackle this massive deficit, cut spending, and lower inflation.
What was the number one concern expressed in there overall?
The biggest concern is our debt. And as a country, it doesn't matter where you fall on the political divide. This debt is going to crush every single one of us. And to quote Elon, he said something extremely important. Every single payment that the federal government pays out, we need to be checking those payments to see if they're legitimate. And that's something that hasn't been done. I don't know if it's ever been done. There's a massive amount of waste, fraud, and abuse that we have to tackle, and I will be doing that with my subcommittee, and I am looking forward to exposing every single unelected bureaucrat, every single agency that is wasting the American people's money, and the big government departments that need to be exposed for how they're not serving the American people.
Was there a call to cut $2 trillion in spending by 2026?
We didn't mention an exact number. All we talked about was cutting spending. Elon and Vivek talked about having a naughty list and a nice list for members of Congress and senators and how we vote and how we're spending the American people's money. I think that would be fantastic. But one thing is for sure, if we can cut spending, we'll be lowering inflation, and that'll be good for everyone.
When do you start work on your subcommittee? When does that kind of start?
Well, as we all know, the next Congress will convene on January 3rd. It'll take a few weeks to do the order of business, setting up committees and subcommittees, and then we'll be getting ready to roll towards the end of January.
Did Musk say that he would expose and shame Republicans for not cutting spending? I know that Chip Roy said that he had proposed that and Musk had agreed with him. Did he agree with him?
Elon said that there will be, he said, a good list and a naughty list. They also have great ideas that they'll be working on with DOGE. Now, this will be separate from Congress. They're talking about communicating with the American people, perhaps maybe even a weekly podcast or a report, so to speak. They want to bring in members of Congress and senators and let the American people hear from them about their ideas and the programs that they're trying to work on, bills they're trying to pass. But the biggest, most important thing that Elon wants to bring forward for the American people is information. His big concern that he talked about today is how many Americans don't even know that we have a deficit or a debt of $36 trillion. And he feels like if we can educate the American people, getting the American people on board, it puts the right pressure where it belongs on the House and the Senate to do this job correctly.
Let's go. Let's go. Oh, yeah. And here is Marjorie Taylor Greene again. This was back in November 26th. And here's what she's talking about then.
Deep dive, too.
Tell us what you see as the most government waste.
It's all over. Every single government department, program, grant programs, contracts, it is everywhere. And so when we look into a deep dive into this massive problem that's caused America to be $36 trillion in debt, we're going to have to go into all kinds of buckets. And that's how I'll be separating things on the Oversight Subcommittee on DOGE. We'll be looking at everything from government-funded media programs like NPR that spread nothing but Democrat propaganda. We'll be going into grant programs that fund things like sex apps in Malaysia, toilets in Africa, all kinds of programs that don't help the American people. I want to talk to the people at the Pentagon and ask them why they can't find billions of dollars every single year and why they fail their audit. But not just that, too.
Toilets in Africa. Elon Musk pointing out just a day ago, going after the New York Times as a woke warmonger propaganda. Is the New York Times the most dangerous news organization in America? It seems like it is captured by the military-industrial complex. And posting some of these headlines, you can see how to choke Iraq, bombing Iraq isn't enough, all these things. And Pentagon spending, they can't even pass an audit. So we know that the Pentagon is in the crosshairs of the DOGE. But Hakeem Jeffries, he can't figure it out.
Yeah, it's unclear to me what exactly the objective is related to this so-called DOGE initiative.
I think
From
it's
our
pretty
perspective, we want a federal government that is effective and efficient and equitable. And to the extent the other side of the aisle shares that objective, which is what is right for the American people, then we'll see if there's common ground that's possible. Democrats will, of course, have to be directly involved to the extent that there is any legislative aspect of this, and we will, by necessity, be engaged because it's clear that the incoming House Republican majority will not be able to do much without us.
But what can President Trump do? I think that's the question I really want answered. If all of a sudden Elon Musk and Ron Paul and Vivek Ramaswamy show up in the Oval Office with a spreadsheet and they're like, Trump, look at this. They're spending this much on toilets in Africa and these apps and the shrimp on treadmill and right. And can Trump just like take a line and through like executive fiat just cross them all out? I mean, is it that easy? I hope it is. Be a lot of pissed off bureaucrats though. But this is when Elon showed up. He had his son on his shoulders. Absolutely beautiful to see that. Here's Tim Burchett when he left the DOGE meeting, and here let's listen to what he had to say about it.
The key to the whole thing is, hey everybody, Tim Burchett, just leaving the DOGE meeting with Elon and Vivek Ramaswamy, and I think the key to the whole thing is going to be, the key to the whole thing is in that room. If Congress doesn't have the guts to do those things that they're talking real big about, it's just a waste of time. They'll do away with executive orders and unelected bureaucrats who put rules and regulations on us. But if Congress doesn't have the guts, and that's what scares me. You know, I vote against a lot of stuff. There'll be 15 or so red dots on the board, which means we voted against horrible spending, and there'll be about 400 green lights on the board, and that's going to be the problem. My friend Chip Roy is right here. Chip,
hey, how are you?
Knox, East Tennessee.
Great
everybody.
Americans?
I was just telling them that the problem's in that room.
That's what I just said.
Yeah, 100%, and that we've got to have the guts to pull the trigger.
Yeah, our friends Elon and Vivek can do a good job exposing it, but then we got to actually do our job. So I hope they do it, and then we'll have to hold our colleagues accountable.
Right on.
See you, brother.
Amen. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for sitting here.
That's awesome. That's awesome. A little cameo there. The DOGE team on Capitol Hill. Scott Jennings commented on the DOGE initiative on CNN. Scott Jennings for the win. Let's see what he said.
If the government is too... To me, it's not just the money, which, they'll have to fight with Congress about. It's the fact that most people believe the government is too big, that the bureaucracy stacked on the bureaucracy crushes a lot of people, crushes a lot of small businesses, kind of puts a stranglehold on a lot of things going on in American life. It crushes innovation. Right now we have federal government unions negotiating with the Biden administration to let some of these federal employees work from home for years and years and years, stuff that started during the pandemic. Now they want it to continue for years and years and years, cutting deals with Biden on the way out the door. This drives people crazy. Like, why does the government get so big? Why are there so many people working there? And why do they get so many perks and such good salaries when I don't feel like as a taxpayer, I'm getting that much out of it? So to me, yes, you're right about where the money is, but there's something to be said for just shrinking the size of government and jettisoning the stuff that nobody believes is necessary. Donald Trump wasn't. He has clearly stated from the minute he got into this race in 2015 that he would not cut Social Security and Medicare. It has never changed. That's number one. Number two, here's what I heard about the meeting today, that it went great, that they were very upbeat. There was a vibe of teamwork. Elon's kind of the visionary, but I'll tell you what I heard was that Vivek gets it. That was the phrase I heard today. He gets it. And so you have two guys here. They're creative. And with Vivek, apparently came in armed with a lot of technical knowledge about how to achieve some of the things they're talking about. But they're not going to cut Social Security and Medicare for people. Is there efficiency to be saved in the bureaucracy? I'm certain that there is.
Oh, but this was probably one of my favorite parts of the day. We had this. Ron Paul, 8 hours ago. Here's an easy one for DOGE. Eliminate foreign aid. It's taking money from the poor and middle class in the U.S. and giving it to the rich in poor countries, with a cut to the facilitators in between. Americans don't want their government to borrow more money to spend on foreign aid. Besides, it's the most immoral transfer of wealth, and it is unconstitutional. And he posted this chart. Largest donors of humanitarian aid worldwide in 2023, the United States. And this is in millions of dollars. And this looks like it says $9,489 million. Now, the good part, now this is where it gets kind of exciting, is that who went ahead and quote tweeted it? But it was Elon Musk himself who quote tweeted it. Here it is. Elon Musk quote tweeting Ron Paul, DOGE will address this with full transparency for the American people. The fact that I'm seeing Ron Paul putting this message out, Elon Musk responding in the affirmative, it warms my heart, man. Because you guys know how much I love Ron Paul. He is near and dear to my heart. And speaking of all this government waste, we have to talk about this as well. What happens in Western North Carolina, because the amount of waste at FEMA, the amount of money that they decided to give to illegal immigrants and leave our American people out in the cold, literally, people are dying. Joe Biden pledging $1 billion to Africa. Matt Van Swal, FEMA's press conference today was insanity. They claimed people in tents was misinformation, then admitted tents exist, but they're all heated, acknowledged non-heated tents exist, and the Red Cross had to give out 3 heated ones. What is this about? Okay, let's listen.
As well. Good afternoon. We're hearing questions and concerns about the presence of tents after the storm. Directly after the storm, we did have a lot of people utilizing lightweight tents, and that's one of the things that we did a canvassing effort for. Although these reports are being shared and elevated through social media, with that social media being from within and a lot of times outside the area, these may not always be the case. Canvassing efforts confirmed that there were no lightweight tents that were being used. We do have some tents that are canvas tents that have a heating source in them and are designed for cold weather that people are utilizing in some of these areas and utilizing that to provide the support that they need. And we have some people in other structures as well on their property. As we went to Swannanoa, we found that several tents were being utilized, as we stated, some of the stronger, heavier weight tents with a heating source, but we also found a need for 3 additional tents, the canvas tents with a heating source and generator that were supplied in conjunction with the Red Cross to these residents.
Okay. Now, here's where it gets really sad, that the person who posted that, actually, I'm trying to find the piece here. Okay, so what you're seeing here, more heroes for Western North Carolina. 29 campers being delivered to Western North Carolina to get families out of the cold by Operation Hilo on TT. They have so far delivered 155 campers to Western North Carolina. These people are American heroes.
You be safe.
And see what you're seeing. This is real people doing real work, not FEMA giving convoluted answers at a press conference about whether tents or not are being used. Okay, this is the heart and soul of America, coming to the aid of the people. All right, and what I'm excited about is DOGE coming in and cleaning up a lot of this mess so that FEMA can actually be efficient and can actually deliver the resources needed, not based on if you have a MAGA sign in your front yard or the color of your skin, based on equity. Okay? That's what needs to change. We also have this. I want to bring up, I got to find that video. Oh, yeah, there's a Democrat who was arrested. We're going to play that in a second. Let's play this. This is Speaker Mike Johnson talking about other things that they will be defunding.
Done by executive order. And,
so two specific examples, Planned Parenthood and PBS, are in congressional control. Are you planning to axe both of those?
I would like to, that's for
Spending
sure.
for both of those?
Yeah, we got to build consensus to have the votes to do that. Now, some of this will be done by executive order out of the White House.
Absolutely.
He has a broad authority to do a lot of that.
Yes.
But where Congress is involved, that's where it takes.
He answered my question. Executive order can take care of it. Thank you, Jesus.
The hard work of legislating and getting everybody on the same page. So there'll be lots of ideas that come out. We don't want to put too many of it out right now, okay? But this is part of that, preparing the playbook to unleash and unroll in January. So.
Well, we know that something like...
Yeah, PBS and Planned Parenthood, yeah, they can go. Say goodbye. And speaking of FEMA, we have Vice President-elect J.D. Vance arriving in North Carolina to help those who've been forced to live in tents in the cold after Hurricane Helene. So, Trump and Vance, they recognize the suffering of the people, and they're on the ground doing the work and investigating and getting real solutions, which is what we need. Where's the clip? I had it here. Oh, this is the clip here. Okay. This is heartbreaking. 12 hours ago, unbelievable. 3 Hurricane Helene victims found dead, froze to death in their tents. Western North Carolina Hurricane Helene volunteer says, guys, we have a confirmed dead 3 people we found in a tent and froze.
From where we were, and that's I think we got a little leak around an air conditioner we're going to have to fix. It's colder than whiz. Ponds froze. Whew, water's froze here at the camper again. We'll make it, though. It's all right. I'll get it thawed out.
So he goes, just days ago, Chimney Rock mayor said he doesn't mind hurricane victims sleeping in tents in the cold, and FEMA was doing a great job. James O'Keefe also just made a trip to the area and confirmed with residents they were sleeping in tents and have not seen FEMA. However, Joe Biden has pledged billions of dollars overseas. Unbelievable. Now, this guy, Sean Hendricks, apparently, I guess he won some kind of contest with Mr. Beast some time ago. But this is what's interesting about this guy, Sean Hendricks. He put out this message. I want to speak with you. I want to speak with J.D. Vance about the work Operation Shelter has been doing. A list of scammers and grifters that need to be brought to justice and how the government can really help in 46 days. Please help me get this attention. And we're finding out Sean Hendricks actually posted that Vance saw the message on social media. So FEMA's complaining about social media. Oh, you guys are posting misinformation. Well, this guy, Sean Hendricks, got a direct response and actually met with J.D. Vance to get real solutions for these people who are freezing to death in Western North Carolina because of the misappropriation of funds out of FEMA. Now, we're finding out this, speaking of, corruption, this Boston City councilor has now been brought up on public corruption charges. 5 counts of wire fraud, 1 count of theft concerning programs receiving federal funds. Again, these are line items that DOGE can address and audit. So this woman here, well, she's now just been indicted We got video footage of that. Let's listen in on this press conference.
Earlier today, Boston City Council member Tanya Fernandez Anderson was arrested on federal public corruption charges. These 6 felony charges stem from an alleged kickback scheme that she orchestrated to obtain several $1,000s in taxpayer money in exchange for a bribe she paid to a staffer she gave her a very large bonus. The indictment charges Ms. Fernandez Anderson with 5 counts of wire fraud in violation of Title 18, United States Code 1343, and 1 count of theft concerning programs receiving federal funds in violation of Title 18, United States Code 666. According to the indictment that was returned by a federal grand jury earlier this week, Ms. Fernandez Anderson was facing financial difficulty in 2023. Part of that financial difficulty stemmed from a sanction that was imposed by the State Ethics Commission of $5,000 for Ms. Fernandez Anderson hiring immediate family members in her Boston City Council office. And in around that same time in 2023, Ms. Fernandez Anderson, the grand jury alleges, patched this scheme to funnel bonus payments, taxpayer money into her own pocket in the tune of approximately $7,000. Specifically, despite the fact that she was under investigation by the State Ethics Commission, Ms. Fernandez Anderson hired another family member on her staff at Boston City Hall to handle constituent services. That staff member was related to her, but Ms. Fernandez Anderson falsely represented to City Hall that there was no familial relationship. That is staff member A in the indictment. Ms. Fernandez Anderson then went on to tell that staff member A that she would give that person a $13,000 bonus. That bonus of $13,000 was more than twice as much as Ms. Fernandez was paying to the rest of her staff combined in bonuses. But that supersized bonus came with a hitch. Ms. Fernandez Anderson told staff member A that she would need to fork over $7,000 in cash back to Ms. Fernandez Anderson. Staff member A agreed. The indictment alleges that after staff member A received the deposit of approximately $10,000 after taxes in her bank account, staff member A was directed to make cash withdrawals. And she did that in the days following the receipt of the money in her bank account. $3,000 on May 31st, 2023, $3,000 on June 5th, 2023, and $4,000 on the afternoon of Friday, June 9th, 2023. And shortly after that last cash withdrawal, Ms. Fernandez Anderson and staff member A texted each other, and they arranged for a meetup in a bathroom in City Hall. That meeting happened in the bathroom around 4 o'clock or so on that Friday. And when they met inside that bathroom, Ms. Fernandez Anderson put $7,000 in cash in her pocket, the grand jury alleges. All of that money was funded by the taxpayers of the city of Boston. When faced with financial hardship and that State Ethics Commission $5,000 sanction, Ms. Fernandez Anderson chose to violate her fiduciary duty and defraud the city of Boston, the indictment alleges, rather than find a legal means to pay off that debt. When her constituents elected Ms. Fernandez Anderson, she had a fundamental obligation to act with the utmost integrity. Public officials who line their pockets with taxpayer money erode the trust and confidence of the public in the officials who serve them. Public service is a privilege, and all of us in public service have a duty to act with integrity and fairness in all that we do.
Bye-bye. Say goodbye. Oh, yeah. Now, I think we actually have a clip of her. Let's see. This is the clip of her being arrested. This is the actual arrest.
Tanya Fernandez Anderson has just been taken into custody.
Here's video from moments ago of the FBI outside a Dorchester home. We told you earlier this week the city councilor is under federal investigation, but neither she nor the city would tell us why. Officials cited the U.S. Attorney's Office, saying the integrity of a grand jury investigation would be impaired by disclosing information.
Fernandez Anderson has represented District 7 since 2021 and has faced several scandals. Last year, the State Ethics Commission found she violated the conflict of interest law by hiring her sister and son and raising their salaries. Fernandez Anderson agreed to pay a $5,000 fine. Just last month, the State Office of Campaign and Political Finance sent her campaign a letter saying it had not timely filed deposit information and had taken contributions over the legal limit. We, of course, will continue to update you on this breaking story. Once again, Boston City Councilor Tanya Fernandez Anderson has just been taken into custody.
What a total moron. Oh, yeah. I think we actually, I don't know if we have footage of her ranting and raving. I thought maybe we did. But, speaking of, misappropriation of funds, remember that, Kamala Harris, right? Her campaign, they're $20 million in debt. Remember that Call Her Daddy podcast that she did? And that whole set that she did it on, well, it's been revealed that it cost $100,000 to recreate the set of that podcast. Well, the girl who did the podcast, she got called out to her face. Listen to this.
Walls could. There's a little bit of controversy about that podcast because you did. Oh. Do you know about this? No, what? Because in D.C., this interview happened in D.C. Yeah. In a hotel. Yeah, not in a hotel. It was like a random house. It was like random house. But apparently, you can tell me, they spent, meaning the Harris campaign spent like $100,000. I did see that. You know about this? It's hilarious. To build the studio. Yeah, that's not true. Not true. To make it look like it was the studio that you used in L.A. My studio that is gorgeous in Los Angeles doesn't even cost six figures. So I don't know how cardboard walls could cost six figures, but. But do you think they did that? I mean, you saw it. Absolutely not. With love to them. Oh my God, it was gorgeous, but like, it wasn't that nice. It wasn't like gorgeous marble. Like, no, that was not six figures. There's a little bit of controversy
you hear that?
About.
It was cardboard. And she looked around, she's like, this doesn't cost six figures, right? But that's what Kamala Harris paid. 6 figures to rebuild a cardboard set that was already constructed in Los Angeles. All Kamala had to do was fly to Los Angeles, do some campaigning, and then hit the podcast. But no, they decided to keep her in Washington, D.C. and build a fake set. My question is, who are the contractors that got paid? Well, I want to see the invoices for a $100,000 cardboard set that even the own podcast host said wasn't that impressive. Okay? That's just all part of this corruption, misappropriation of funds, Democrats just acting absolutely foolishly. And here's another one. This is PBS. Mark K, 12 hours ago, this smug, arrogant, and biased segment about Elon Musk by PBS is the perfect example of why DOGE should cut funding to PBS. And as we just learned, yes, it is on the chopping block. Listen to this.
What were they telling Congress they want to do exactly with this department, this so-called department?
This was an unusual day on Capitol Hill. These two men who don't have any official government function at this point were actually the center of political gravity. Now,
oh, they don't have any official government function. Yeah. Karen, call the manager. They don't have any authority.
What we saw from Ramaswamy and Musk was them crisscrossing the Capitol, Musk with his child X on his shoulders. And sometimes you see him there in the photo. As far as we know, they met only with Republicans, but by my count, scores of them, including Speaker Johnson and incoming Senate Leader John Thune. These sessions, sources told us, were largely brainstorming sessions. Republicans who walked out said they felt heard. Most of them, but not all, were enthusiastic about the idea of cutting government in general. Now, I'm told that Musk indicated to House and Senate Republicans late in the afternoon that his goal is getting on a trajectory toward, get this, a balanced budget. That has significant consequences if the U.S. is to get there. Now, their stated goal of cutting $2 trillion.
There's consequences to getting to a balanced budget. Who are these people?
Dollars overall. That is tough. That is ambitious, but that is what they're pitching right now. They say they want to cut the federal workforce. They also want to force workers to work more from the office. Ramaswamy.
Oh, you have to show up to work. You actually have to go into the office. Yeah. Did you get the memo? COVID's over. All right. Remote work is not required anymore. All right.
And Musk didn't speak in public today, but Ramaswamy did sit down yesterday at a forum, and he spoke more about what he thinks about federal workers, as well as that it's not just about cutting costs, but changing government.
I think part of the project of thinning out the federal bureaucracy, that's less about the headcount expenses, and it's more about actually respecting the rules of the road in the constitutional republic. I'm hopeful it's going to be even good for many of the individuals who may make a transition from government service back to the private sector.
Now, government worker unions do not think it will be good for their workers if they are laid off, and they are taking action now to protect them. And also, they signed a deal with the Biden administration to protect telework. That sets up a real potential clash in the Trump administration over this.
What more have you learned about how these two men will operate and how they intend to run? We keep saying so-called because only Congress, as you well know, has the authority to create a new agency, and this Department of Government Efficiency does not exist.
Right. This is the right question. And this is the question I had the hardest time getting an answer to from Republicans today. What is DOGE? What is the Department of Government Efficiency? It's not a commission, but let's go over what we do know about it right now. This was established by President-elect Trump. He announced it November 12th, just using this title. It is not an official commission. It is not a government division. Now, they have announced, Musk and Ramaswamy, an end date for it for July 4th, 2026. Republicans leaving the meeting today, I asked them, Jeff, what is this exactly? What is the structure here? They said they weren't exactly clear. I asked Judiciary Chairman Jim Jordan, is this subject to freedom of information requests, for example, what they're doing? He said, I don't know. I asked, is this going to need government funding? Not clear. So right now it is two men, two billionaires who are advising, who will come up with a set of recommendations. Sure. This is important because the only structure for this group right now officially is the congressional caucuses that have just launched. And they did that purposely, Jeff. That structure is coming from Congress, congressional Republicans, to bolster this idea.
Oh, what were they? They were conspiring to create a congressional caucus so that Vivek and Elon and Ron Paul could advise. What's wrong with that? These people are terrified of having their funding cut at PBS. So frame that when you watch these people talking, okay? Luke Rosiak, food stamps are one of the biggest government programs, and the number one thing they are used to is buy soda. USDA pays farmers not to grow crops, then pays poor people to buy junk food, then Medicaid pays to treat the resulting obesity. DOGE and Elon Musk should replace SNAP to MAHA and save some money. How DOGE could save billions and MAHA. Yeah, we could. I think so. Oh, look at this. Here's President Biden a day ago. 2 years ago, I pledged to deliver $55 billion in new investment in Africa to mobilize American businesses to close new deals with African partners. Today, we're out way ahead of schedule, delivering more than $40 billion in investments thus far. Wow. How outrageous is that? Ron Paul calls for Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk's DOGE to end all foreign aid. Juanita Broderick posting this. Speaking of corruption, this piece will never be relevant again. Thank God his days of destroying America are over. Listen to what Barack had to say.
Potentially, there are going to be times, potentially, when one side tries to stack the deck and lock in a permanent grip on power. Either by actively suppressing votes or politicizing the armed forces or using the judiciary, the criminal justice system to go after opponents. And in those circumstances, pluralism does not call for us to just stand back and say, well, I'm not sure. That's okay. In those circumstances, a line has been crossed, and we have to stand firm.
Projection. 100% projection. Eric Trump, 13 hours ago, think. Government added 52,000 jobs in the month of December, 3 times the number of jobs added to the United States construction industry, 17,000. We are so backward. Thankfully, help is on the way. Elon Musk and DOGE, overall job growth. Government added 52,000 jobs. Hospitality, 40,000. Healthcare, 38,000. Social assistance, 21,000. Construction, 17,000 jobs. George Behezy tweets, the government should never be our largest employer because the only thing it produces is debt and corruption. We need to cut 90% of it. DOGE will get the job done. Chuck Calestro pointing that out. Oh boy. We got a lot to look forward to, my friends. This guy, Hakeem Jeffries, man, I don't know what's DOGE going to do. I got no idea. Yeah, because all Democrats know how to do is spend your money. And that's all about to change, my friends. Here is Representative Eric Burleson. And he took over former Representative Matt Gaetz' bill to abolish the ATF. That would be a good thing. It's a rogue agency that continues to violate Americans' Second Amendment rights. It's got to go. So maybe DOGE will look into the ATF as well.
Sponsor of, I ask unanimous consent that I may hereafter be considered as the first sponsor of H.R. 374, a bill originally introduced by Representative Gaetz of Florida for the purpose of adding co-sponsors and requesting reprintings pursuant to Clause 7 of Rule 12.
Without objection, so ordered.
All right, let her rip. Abolish the ATF. Cut the fat in government. Get it all over with, man. Balance the budget. Get people healthy again. Stop the foreign aid. I mean, here is this. Speaking of, this is crazy. I bring it up because Elon Musk, he's doing these brain implants too. Listen to this. Jay Anderson. In the year 2020, IBM put neural implants in U.S. prisoners without their knowledge, reporting a great success in suppressing moods with 24/7 biosurveillance. This was highly confidential, but the documentation proving it was released via legal discovery in court. So who authorized that? Who authorized IBM to put brain chips in prisoners? Okay? Is that another government program that could be looked at by DOGE and cut? How absolutely insane. Get FEMA back in line with the American people. Oh, here's that woman. Okay, here's that clip I was looking for. Here's Andy No. Tanya Fernandez Anderson, a woke BLM Muslim former illegal migrant Democrat serving on the Boston City Council, has been arrested by the FBI after being indicted on 5 counts of aiding and abetting wire fraud. Okay, wow, she's going off. Here we go.
Black woman, what the do I have to do in this council in order to get respect as a black woman?
Yeah, well, it looks like she's going to be serving some time. And I thought that this meme was perfectly timed. If you guys have ever seen the movie Office Space, this is a famous scene. And they replaced everyone's heads with Elon and Ron Paul and Vivek smashing the, what was it, a printer? Copy machine? It was the printer. Or the copy machine, whatever it was. Smashing government overspending. Oh, yeah. I thought that was great. Okay. Elon Musk, this needs to be fixed. Should be ruled by democracy, not ruled by bureaucracy. Mike Lee, in a meeting today with Elon Musk, Vivek, Speaker Johnson, referred to the fact that because unelected bureaucrats now make most federal law and control much of our economy, we've been stripped of the benefit of a constitutional republic. Wow. As Vivek noted, the need for Americans to demand accountability from their own government is precisely why we fought and mercifully won the American Revolution. And that got him thinking. Throughout Anglo-American history, we've seen a major upheaval every 75 to 90 years. It's almost like clockwork. Each pivot in American history has been kickstarted by events in just 3 critical years. By reckoning those years, 1776, 1861, and 1937, they're not just random years, they're game changers. In 1776, we declared independence from a large, distant government that recognized no limits on its authority and refused to hold itself accountable to the American people. Sound familiar? In 1861, the American Civil War began, hastening the end of a tragic chapter of our history when many Americans owned other Americans as property, as slaves, with the approval and protection of government. In 1937, progressives in all 3 branches of the U.S. government, with one final push from the Supreme Court, dangerously eroded the Constitution's twin structural protections, the vertical protection we call federalism and the horizontal protection known as separation of powers, all to facilitate FDR's quest to centralize power in the federal government in response to the Great Depression. In the nearly 88 years since the Supreme Court opened this era, on April 12, 1937, the court redefined Congress's power to regulate interstate commerce so broadly that nothing remained of federalism, and indirectly set in motion Congress's now common habit of delegating lawmaking power to unelected bureaucrats. Americans have lost much of their power to control their own destiny to the people in Washington, D.C. We're about to have another one of those years, one that could initiate the reversal of the immense harm that has been unleashed on the American people by their own government, no less, ever since April 12, 1937. So brace yourselves, because 2025 is shaping up to be the next big pivotal year, only the 4th in our 248-year history as a country. We're on the cusp of setting in motion a new, brighter era for America. This next era must be about reinstating the Constitution's core, structural protections, both the vertical protection of federalism and the horizontal separation of powers. Congress needs to step up aggressively. It's time to open this next chapter where we, the American people, take back control from the unelected, unaccountable bureaucrats who've been running our government like it's their personal sandbox, treating us like they're toys. These bureaucrats churn out nearly 100,000 pages of regulations every year, regulations that not one elected lawmaker votes to enact into law. So, it's time. It's time. And that's why I spent so much time on DOGE today, because it is a revolutionary organization from the mind of Donald Trump being executed by Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk, and of course, with the help of Ron Paul and Marjorie Taylor Greene, Mike Johnson, the new subcommittee that's being formed. People are freaking out. You saw that PBS woman, right? You saw Hakeem Jeffries. They know their days are numbered of being able to just, pay out all this cash. So you have Democrats in Boston just taking federal funds and giving it to their friends. And well, thankfully she got arrested for it, right? But these days are over. The revolution is here, patriots. While career bureaucrats panic about their cushy work-from-home setups, Musk and Ramaswamy are building an army of efficiency warriors. Ron Paul's call to end foreign aid is only the beginning. The question is, will Congress embrace DOGE's America First agenda, or will they side with the bureaucratic swamp? Drop your predictions in the comments below. And don't forget to grab your limited edition MAGAvengers gear featuring Ron Paul and Elon Musk on that shirt right there. That's the shirt. I got them as superheroes. Show the world you stand with the DOGE revolution.